This might be it. Battle for Azeroth's turning point. Blizzard have unveiled patch 8.2, and in doing so, they have shown their plan to rework the core pillars of BFA's failure: boring world content, bad Azerite progression, boring classes, and unrewarding stuff for your character. Whether or not they succeed, we will just have to wait and find out with the PTR, but based on their most recent info dump, things are looking pretty darn good indeed. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. Yes, it's that time again, a new World of Warcraft patch. We finally know a lot more, and more so than any other patch. I've really wanted to know about 8.2, given just how hard I fell out of love with World of Warcraft over the last half a year. Blizzard have unveiled a lot, and in this video we're going to talk about how it is trying to fundamentally right the core wrongs of BFA. Expect much more from this channel over the coming days, as our team will be working around the clock. And that team is made possible by the wonderful people at today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with over 25,000 classes on design, video making, writing, and far more. The premium membership gives you access to all of that, and for only $10 a month. But with my link, you can join the more than 7 million people on Skillshare with 2 free months of premium. It's been a fantastically helpful service to me. I'm always trying to make my videos more engaging and more enjoyable, and one course that's really helped that is Storytelling 101 by Daniel Jose Older. It's a fantastic course. It's also a Skillshare original, so the production value is just top notch. I use Skillshare a lot, and indeed there are courses on Skillshare that I use all the time to teach my team new skills, which feeds right back into this channel. They're fantastic. I think you'll get a lot out of them, and you can get 2 free months with the link below. So with that, thanks to them, and let's get right into the video. I think for many of us right now, we're really just thinking, you know, what's the state of WoW? Is this just going to be another content patch that will play for a week and then stop because it's all the same? That's really what I want to tackle here. And based on what the team have said, they genuinely seem to be trying new things here, and that does have me excited. We're going to kick it off with world content. World content has been really one of the things that disappointed me the most in World of Warcraft for quite a long time. Thankfully, patch 8.2 seems to be trying to fix this problem, and what I really like is it's doing it in 2 different ways. So this patch brings us to 2 new zones. The first one is Nazjatar, and the second one is Mechagon. What I actually liked a lot about what they have planned, though, is that both zones have different approaches to world content. And what that says to me is that they're experimenting with 2 different modes of gameplay. They're probably going to want to see what type do players enjoy the most, and that will likely inform a lot of their future decisions. So let's talk about that world content. In Nazjatar, initially, things are very bad for the 2 factions. Of course, I'll say no spoilers. We make allies in Nazjatar, sort of rebel groups, and then what we initially are trying to do is to build up their base, help them out, so that they can eventually help us. And that means that as you progress through the content of that zone, you are building up their base. Now, this all happens through a few different systems. Number one, there's a sort of like daily kind of to-do list that you'll get in terms of your various different objectives once you're there. Then there will also be 3 different allied characters, and you can pick one of them up and they'll actually help you and they'll follow you around in combat. But what's really cool about them is they actually level up. They have 30 levels each, so there's a lot of progression for you. As they level up, they gain new abilities, which again is really pretty cool, and I think when you fully level them up, they actually have cosmetic rewards for your character. So that's already one way that they're trying to make the world content feel a bit different. Now, once you actually get out into Nazjatar, they seem to be doing a different approach to world quests. Now, we don't know exactly 100% because the PTR is not out, but he talked about the world quests feeling a lot more thematic and being, I would say, more designed to feel like a Shara. As an example, he talked about a world quest where, say, a rare mob, right, a sort of a Shara's, a lieutenant, as an example, would come in, and they would have a different affix buffing them. And it almost seemed to me like areas of the map would kind of have affixes on them based on these lieutenants that would impact the world quests. Again, we'll have to see what the details are like, but basically there seem to be a number of new systems operating with the world quests that exist. He talked about world quests spawning in such a way that a group of world quests would spawn in, and then that would actually mean that there would be changes to that part of the zone. So like Ashara's people would come in, they'd put in some defenses and things like that, and that would actually change up that part of the map. We'll have to see how much that actually impacts the game, but if you've been watching my content, I mean, that is something that I've been advocating for literally since Warlords of Draenor, so I'm extremely happy to see that they're starting to make some changes there. So it's very positive. And then overall, of course, Nazjatar as a zone, yeah, it looks pretty darn beautiful. So while there is more to go into with the minutiae there, broadly speaking, it seems to be trying to do a novel attempt at world content. However, once we move over to Mechagon, we once again see them trying to do something new. So like with Nazjatar, Mechagon, you go there, you have these allied people in a place called Rustbolt, and the way that it kind of works is you're trying to build up their city, right? Add new things to it. You're always getting scrap, you're always tinkering, and this all happens through a few different mechanics. So one of them is that the map appears to be strewn just with things that you can tinker with. One example that was given was, say there is a big rare boss, right? Well, there could be 2 flamethrowers beside it. So with all of the tinkering, scrap that you will have collected, you could activate those 2 flamethrowers and they would help you defeat that boss. So overall, it seems like the basic world area has a deeper level of interactivity. That, I think, is a very good thing. Now, they did describe this zone as being a bit more similar to the Timeless Isles, and that does make me think that, a lot of the resources that you're using for the world interaction kind of feel like timeless coins, like you're always just getting you're just getting them from loads of different sources. So that's pretty cool. The other element of it is that once you actually go back to your main hub there, you've got this big robot fellow who is in charge of the core upgrades. Now, this involves upgrades to the area, which seem to actually impact and, matter in terms of the content that you can do and how it all feels, but also a whole bunch of new player rewards, including a new mount and a bunch of stuff like that. Then the zone also is going to have Timeless Isle style rares. What does that mean? It means rares that spawn in far more irregularly than the very boring and not really that rare rares of current Battle for Azeroth. So basically, Mechagon is a lot more playful in its design. It feels very gnomish. It's all about tinkering, and that seems to be something that they are reflecting in the design of the world. And then on top of that, there's also a system of travelers. It's actually a little bit like the Warlords of Draenor garrison thing where 3 travelers would come each day. Now those travelers will give you, a unique powerful quest, and they will also change up some of the spawns and objectives of the zone as well. So overall, what we see here is 2 different outdoor zones that both have really very different gameplay feels and different designs. So Blizzard are probably experimenting, trying to see which one will work the best, and I think that is genuinely quite exciting. So that's really for me the highlights of the world content. It seems like it's trying to be new and different, and that's very exciting. Now, let's move on to the heart of Azeroth. So there is a new thing called the Heartforge. There's a bunch of lore behind it, but let's not get into the lore. The core of it basically is the Heartforge has 3 slots. It's got 2 minor ones and 1 major one. And as you do content, you collect these things called essences. Now, the essences get socketed into the slots in your Heart of Azeroth through the Heartforge, which is in the Chamber of the Heart. And the way that it basically works is you have a major slot. That major slot, whatever essence you put into the major slot, you'll actually get an active ability based on what that essence is. And then for your other 2 slots, if you put a essence in those slots, you'll just get a passive. But actually for your major slot, yeah, you'll get the active ability, but you'll also get the passive of the essence that you put in that. Now, we need to see what all the different designs are like of these different things. We do actually know that the essences do come in different, in different qualities, depending, I would assume, on the difficulty of the content that you do. And we know that the higher level ones actually have more effects, including potentially more utility effects. Now, there is still, I guess, the possibility that you could be unlocking different, essentially different versions of the same essence. However, from what they said, the different versions of them seem to just be it'll have a new utility effect. So not really like the existing re-unlocking trait thing. We'll have to see how this specifically works, of course. But based on what they said, it seems like you just unlock this. If you look at the UI that they showed, right, you just seem to unlock a roster of available ones, and that means that it gives you this gameplay of slotting in which ones you want, customizing your build, changing it up for what type of content that you're doing. And to me, this seems like a massive improvement over what we currently have with the Heart of, Azeroth's Azerite gear. It may not be perfect. It might not be perfect to the more hardcore raiders, even though they actually are getting legendary quality essences which have unique visuals, which I think is pretty cool. But from a basic gameplay perspective, if you're unlocking these things, almost like glyphs, basically, and you're slotting them in and you're able to customize them and tweak them about, I actually think for the average player that could be a pretty good, interesting system. I'm going to think more about it, and it will make it into its own video once we've collated more of the minutiae and the details, but overall I would say that it seems like a pretty good improvement. Now, is it a new ability for every class? We're not sure yet. There could be class-specific essences. It seems like it may not be, which is maybe a little bit disappointing, but overall, I do actually think there is room for this to be a really good upgrade to the game. And frankly, because with the Azerite stuff, they are essentially just, they're going to continue adding in new Azerite traits, but they're not going to change the unlock requirements. So if we have this new essence system plus new traits that you just get for free, essentially, then yeah, that actually does seem like a lot more mechanics on your character in a way where you have more control, because there is less in the way of the unlocks being annoying, and it's not like you have any reforge costs with the Heartforge. It really seems like that is designed for you to be able to continually, mix and match, swap things in and out, depending on the content that you want to do. So, to me, that actually seems like a very good thing. And then next up there is mount equipment. I thought this was really cool. Like a lot of the things in this patch, it is in a video that I did a while ago. Of course, that is just coincidence. With actual development times, there's no way that I could have done a video, 2 months, and they would have thought, oh, that's a good idea, we'll put it in. Nah, like this stuff's all way, way before I would have made any content on it. But I guess it's just nice to see that there's a bunch of things that I thought would be a good idea for the game, and it just so happens that is what they have done. So with mount equipment, you actually have a mount equipment slot on your character. Whatever mount equipment you put into that slot will just be applied to any mount. And this seems to be two things. It seems to be, number one, a way to customize your mounts, but also, number two, a way of you not feeling locked into a mount, such as the Water Strider. So you could have, I think it's inflatable horseshoes or something, which basically just gives water walking to every mount in the game. Now, does that mean the Water Strider is less unique? Yes, it does. Does it give you more customization? Yes, it does. And overall, I feel like this is a system they could add to over time, and that by doing that, they could make mounts a bit more interesting in the game. It's not 100% perfect, but I think it is a good new addition, and importantly, it's a new way to reward players, and that is something the game has been sorely lacking. So overall, seems pretty good. And then actually just on that topic, they continually were just talking about new ways to reward players that are different from what they typically do. Stuff like a lot of the Mechagon world content seems to kick back into giving you rewards for your character. Like, I think there's a mount. There was a mount, I think there was different paint jobs as well. I think you could get a cat and then get different paint jobs for the cat by doing content in Mechagon. If they're doing more stuff like that, then I think that's great. That really is just giving people more reasons to play the game other than just item level, item level, item level forever, which I think is a big problem that the game suffers with. And then equally over in Nazjatar, you've got your companion characters who you level from 1 to 30, and then once they hit 30, you get a thing for your character. Some sort of cosmetic thing. We don't exactly know what it is yet, which is great. So for me with World of Warcraft, I've been really sad about the state of the rewards in the game. It seems like this patch is doing a lot of good things to shore up that problem. I've been really sad about the Heart of Azeroth. It seems like they're adding in a new system that I think for most people will probably be a good bit of fun and give you customization and a new ability for your character, or well, new abilities for your characters, which I think is a really good thing. It may not be ideal for the most hardcore people, we'll just have to wait and see, but with the existing pain points of Azerite mostly being removed by the leveling no longer mattering for your Azerite gear, and then seemingly a pretty decent new system being added, that removes pain points and adds something that's probably neutral to good, which overall is an improvement. And then for world content, I've been really bored with world content in World of Warcraft, but now it all seems more rewarding, it seems more dynamic in a way. We've got the different affixes and the more interesting spawning of world quests over in Nazjatar. We've got the more interactive world and the Timeless Isle sort of stylings of Mechagon. So really, if I look at the 3 pillars of dislike that I have for World of Warcraft, the world content, the modes of reward, and the Heart of Azeroth, they're doing good things to fix all 3. And that does have me properly excited about getting into this PTR and properly playing the game and really caring about it again. Of course, it's too early to say if any of this stuff will work out, but it's good that they seem to be committing to making different experiments and seeing how it goes. Indeed, in the live stream, Jeremy was talking about feedback a lot. He talked about how with the PTR, it's kicked back a bit later. I do believe that a part of that's because their QA people kind of got they had problems with the QA team with the Blizzard layoffs, but past that, he was very clear that they wanted things like the new Heart of Azeroth systems to be in from day one so they can get immediate feedback on that system and have enough time to act on its problems. So that means that even though, yes, there technically are a bunch of problems that come to mind with that system, or a few of them, they seem to be very honest about wanting to fix that. And I suppose it does just make me hope that Battle for Azeroth was a big slap across the face that woke them up. Because with Battle for Azeroth, they entered that with utter hubris, right? They did a really bad beta where they seemingly just did not care about people's feedback. They then put in a bunch of very arbitrary feeling systems with the core game systems of BFA that, were based on assumptions that obviously did not pan out. Yet with this, well, a lot of the things we see here are running counter to the main problems of BFA. And that's kind of why I am pretty excited. I'll admit that. I don't think that's silly fanboyism. At the end of the day, we'll see in PTR. Right now, they're saying good things, they're showing things that look pretty cool, and that's why I'm excited. There's a lot more content. I've got my team going through right now everything we can find, all the different interviews and videos, all the tidbits outside of this stream, and that means we're going to collate everything together, giving you targeted videos that fully explain everything we know about these new systems, and that'll be rolling out over the, probably one or two tonight, and then over the following days. So, thank you very much. I am so excited that we're actually able to properly make WoW content again, because man, it's been a real drought over the last while. This is just a great time. Thank you very much for watching this video. Stay tuned to the channel, it's going to be mighty busy, and with that, I'll see you next time.